Welcome to the Veterans in Politics Talk Show. Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook. Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Today we have Dr. Howell Shaw, candidate for Clark County Clerk. But before we get to Dr. Shaw, Ms. Phillips.
Thanks for joining us, everybody, and thank you to our sponsors. We have Tim Ross over at the North Las Vegas Hangars Association. If you would like to know more about what they do and advocate for, his website is vgthog.org, vgthog.org. We also have Henderson's mayor, Michelle Romero. She is running for re-election, and congratulations, Michelle. She won last night in the primary, and it was great. Her website is votemichelleromero.com, votemichelleromero.com. And we also have Judge Jennifer Schwartz. She's running for re-election for Department 17. Her website is judgeschwartz.com, judgeschwartz.com. She will be on the ballot in November. Don't forget to grab your copy of Steve's book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System. You can get a copy on Amazon. It is $14.99. If you are a family court litigant and don't have an attorney and can't afford one, this is a self-help book and it will help you navigate that system. So pick up a copy. We also have a merch store. It's vipimerch.com, vipimerch.com. There's all kinds of fun things for you to check out there. And also we had the primary election last night. I want to congratulate all of our endorsed candidates and winners. We had Cody Whipple, CD4, great race. And we were very happy to see that. We figured he would win. So congratulations, Cody. Also, Drew Johnson, state treasurer. He is in the lead. That was a tight race, but congratulations. George Harris, SD8. Congratulations. Joey Sharafi, AD8. Congratulations. Shania Booth, Shanae, Assembly District 22. She won her primary. Jessica Goody, Judge Jessica Goody, Department 26. She won decidedly. That was a great race. Congratulations, Jessica. Bill Henderson for Department R. Him and Marilyn Caston will be going to the general election. Judge Mary Perry, Department P, congratulations. She is going on to November. Also, Christine Brewer for Family Division Department S, congratulations. You almost got 50%. That was great. Good race. Congratulations, Manny Kess for Commission District E. He won. Michael Murphy for Public Administrator. Irene Bustamante for School Board Trustee, District F. Judge Barbara Shivalakwa over in Henderson. She won her primary. Also Judge Alicia Albritton at the City of Henderson, the Muni Court, Department 1. And Shannon Nordstrom, City Council, Ward 2. She will be moving on to the general. And Jessica Green, Muni Court, Las Vegas Muni Court, Department 2. She'll be moving on also. And Sherry Struthers, City of North Las Vegas, Ward 1. She will be moving on. Congratulations. And Judge Chris Cannon, he won his primary. I believe he won that outright in Department 1. So congratulations, Judge Cannon. Hope I didn't forget anybody, but these were our endorsed candidates. So congratulations to everybody. Oh, and as far as speaking of the election, the Secretary of State, I just wanted to mention your website's terrible. You really need to update that site. We were waiting forever for results, and Clark County has not been updated. I just looked before I left for the show, and it had not been updated since 12:45 a.m. I don't know why there hasn't been updates. Most of them have not been updated all day long. And it's a shame that I have to go watch NBC, ABC, some other news channel to get results in my own state rather than going to my Secretary of State's website. Because your website seems to be the last that is updated. And what you guys did last night, I don't know if anyone saw this, the Nevada Independent, they wrote an article about the Secretary of State how they left a portal open by mistake last night. And all the election results were open to 3 or 4 media outlets, which they reported. And the Secretary of State didn't notice this for almost an hour until they were alerted to the fact that the media had access to all of this data 3 hours before the polls closed. That is against state law. There's one job that is the most important for you guys to do at the Secretary of State's office. These are elections. So get your act together, please. Fix the website, get these updates. Don't let the media have these results before the Nevada taxpayer voters. You work for us, not the media. Thank you very much.
That was close.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Dr. Shaw.
I concur.
Thank you. Thank
Doing
you.
great, Steve. How are you?
Great. Could you give us a bye? Thank you for coming.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you for re-inviting me, actually. Yes.
Could you give us a bio?
A bio. Well, quickly, I was born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It's very strange to be Chinese in Minnesota, but here you go. I ended up going to Stanford University, where I learned product design, which is engineering and art kind of pushed together. And you are supposed to be able to design beautiful products, basically, is what it boils down to. I ended up working for a firm in product design. It was called Frog Design. And one of our top clients was Apple Computer. So I ended up doing work for Apple. Some of my greatest memories are I actually had meetings with Steve Jobs, and we were at that point discussing colors, and he disagreed with what we were trying to present, and I kept saying, oh no, we need to do this in order to move ahead and be professional, and in the end, I actually won that argument. So that's my claim to fame, my 15 minutes. Out of that, basically, in that time, I also became a born-again Christian. And that's kind of been the path of my life ever since. From Frog Design, I ended up starting my own design company. It was called Cactus Design first. That was actually to honor the fact that I was in my spiritual desert time. But then after a while, things, I guess, started to blossom. So we changed the name of the company. I was doing graphic design at that point to Envision Identity. Because what we were doing then is, taking my marketing expertise, my design expertise, we would actually create corporate identity for clients. And along that time was also the dot-commer boom. And we had just tons and tons of dot-commers come to us because we're a one-stop shop. We do the whole naming, positioning statements, logos, corporate identity in terms of your business stationery system and everything like that. Websites. So they love that because, it was just one point of contact to do all that. But obviously when the dot-com bubble burst, that whole company kind of fell and that was that. But out of that though, out of the ashes came this idea, because, at this time I'm trying to follow God. God, what are you doing here? And he said, well, now that this design part of your life is done, follow your passions. So I ended up following my passions, and at that point, it was actually music. I love music, so I actually taught young people how to create worship bands. I don't know if you guys ever go to church and have the fancy band up there.
You're a pastor, right?
Yes, and I'm a pastor now. Yes.
Do you have your own church?
Yes. It's in Henderson. It's called Dwell AJC. We're actually an Acts 2 church, which means we meet in our houses. We break bread together. It's all about the relationships rather than a performance, if you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So, but with that, between then and the pastor becoming a pastor, I ended up coming here to Las Vegas to be a part of Lake Mead Christian Academy. Mm-hmm. I did like 3.5 years with them. Started out as the dean of the elementary. They decided to downsize the hierarchy, as it were. But they liked me, so they kept me as a middle school science and math teacher. So I did that. Along the way, I ended up working for the church that I was attending at that point at ICLV. I kind of helped out our senior leader at that point with his nonprofit stuff. We just had that big deal at the T-Mobile Center, right, for veterans.
Oh,
with
Allegiant.
the Allegiance.
Day
I'm
of
sorry,
Gratitude.
you're right. The Great
Uh-huh.
So that actually has been around for like 4 or 5 years. I did the first one. It was at ICLV, and that was with CityServe. And at that point, I was actually executive director for CityServe, with my senior leader as kind of the president, as it were. But as it turned out, that wasn't the path I was supposed to take. So we ended up parting ways, and that's when I started my own church. So, and then from then, I have been basically. I fell in love with the Constitution and teaching Constitution. So I've been spending a lot of my time I'm connected to this organization called Patriot Academy, and they have some excellent content. Constitution Live is a 10-week course on the Constitution. They shortened it down to 6 because 10 weeks is a long time for anyone to commit to. There's also a course called Biblical Citizenship, which I also taught. And then the latest course that's now available is called Rebuilding Liberty, which is specific to the Declaration of Independence and our 250th birthday. So that kind of brings us up to speed right now. Yeah.
So you're a doctor of what?
So my doctorate is actually an honorary doctorate, and it is to commemorate the fact that I have done a lot of community service, doing these courses. I do them for free, by the way, because I do see it as part of my ministry. So I go and do these things and love doing them. I've done probably a good 60 classes in the past 3 years, and I've done homeschool classes. I've done one-day intensives with all ages. So
how do you go from pastor to politics and running for
Clark County Clerk?
Yeah,
good question.
Fill in those blanks for us.
Absolutely. Well, I've always been active. Well, let me say this: since 2020, I really thought that our President Trump at that point really needed to be elected. So I just said, I got to do something more than just go and vote. So I basically started knocking doors and, boots on the ground. I got involved with the Clark County Republican Party. I worked with their communications department as well as the candidate development, because again, I really feel like every candidate needs to learn the Constitution. So that was my contribution, is that I would actually teach Constitution to the candidates if they wanted to. And just got really involved. Turning Point Action came along. I got very involved with that. I was actually the chair of the Faith Coalition for Turning Point Action up until when I basically filed for candidacy, because I didn't want to have any, conflict of interest. I was also, our church is actually a Turning Point USA faith group. So we got very, very involved with what that was. And, Charlie Kirk was one of my heroes and continues to be. So we were very, very active. And we, as a church, there's this misunderstanding of the separation of church and state. Most people in the church believe that means that the church is not supposed to dabble in politics. That's why a lot of pastors don't even talk about things that could be even construed as politics. Whereas, some very basic things like abortion or transgenderism or homosexuality, those are in the Bible, but they became political. So, but unfortunately, because pastors are a little bit afraid of losing their 501c3, they stayed away from it. So the more I learned, the more I realized that that was a complete misunderstanding of what Thomas Jefferson actually wrote, because that's the first time that it appeared anywhere, the separation of church and state. He was writing to the Danbury Baptist Association, and that was actually to let them know that we will never have a state-sanctioned denomination, because that's what the Baptists were afraid of. Because at that point, Thomas Jefferson was a Congregationalist, I believe, and they were afraid that as he was the president, he would make his denomination the state denomination. And he said, oh no, there's this great wall between church and state where the state will never interrupt the church. But you see how it got turned around?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
I think the pastors should be. When I was campaigning, I would call for the pastors to get involved,
Yes.
because, they need to, if Christians would get involved more politically and vote. A lot of them don't vote across this country,
Correct.
which when I was reading those statistics from, I think 2020, millions of them didn't vote.
Correct.
And I believe that that is our duty. It's a right, it's a responsibility. And as a Christian, I believe that is a responsibility, because I don't want God looking at me when I get up there and say, what did you do? Yeah. Did you do anything to defend my name? And, what they do in politics and who we elect to office, we want them to have a moral character and compass.
Absolutely.
So I think that is important. So good for you.
Oh, thank you.
I
Thank
like
you.
that.
It is my life's work now.
Yeah.
And the reason why I'm running is because, usually I'm behind the scenes and I like doing that. And, I put on conferences like in January, we had this thing called Battleborn Freedom Conference. About 400 people show up, and we had Rick Green and Tim Barton and Bill Federer, some really big names in this kind of biblical understanding of politics come and speak to us. But this cycle, the Lord said, no, you have to actually run this time. It's like, why?
Why clerk, though? How'd you get into
That's a
that?
good question. So at first, I just made the assumption that I was supposed to run for Assembly District, and they wanted me actually to run for, I think it was 21, because I guess there's nobody going to be there. But I don't live in 21, and I just couldn't come to a peace about pretending to live in 21.
Plus it's illegal,
which is just
right?
Yeah, exactly. But they were
So
saying
that's easy, Hal.
you just rent an apartment and just show up there once in a while.
Yeah.
They were telling me all this is like, no, this is
The dirty
still a lie.
politicians do that and try and fake it.
Yeah.
There's many that we have seen and known. Some currently.
So I just said, no, I can't do this. So I went back and said, all right, God, then what do you want me to do? Because in 22, we already had a Republican, as the incumbent. And I was like, at first, just going to go after her, but I just got more counsel saying, no, that's not going to help the greater cause. I understand. Okay, all right, I'll just back off. And it just so happened that I got an email from Clark County Republican Party saying, here are the seats that are going uncontested. So I looked through this list, and then this Clark County Clerk thing just kind of gravitated towards me. And as I did my research, I began to see that actually I was really well suited to become clerk.
What does that office even do?
So the Clark County Clerk is in charge of the wedding licenses, the fictitious name statements, and I guess they keep the minutes for the Clark County Commission. And there's some other sundry public statements that they have to collect, recordings and that sort of thing. So that's what Clark County Clerk does.
They also certify elections.
No, unfortunately, that's a different department. In
Yeah,
most places,
they
clerk
have something to do with elections as well.
Not in Clark County. Not in Clark County, unfortunately, because I would have wanted to have something to do with that, obviously. But they have created a whole elections department separate from Clark County Clerk.
Who runs that?
They have their own people.
Oh.
Yeah, so the Clark County Commission basically puts those people together. And, well, I have my opinions about what they're doing, obviously. So, yeah. But that's what Clark County Clerk does. And with that said, the incumbent has actually done a very good job in marketing Las Vegas as the wedding capital of the world, right? And I said, hey, God, what more do you want me to do? And he basically said, well, Howell, I love marriage because, obviously I invented it, but I want my marriages to last forever. It's like, oh, okay, all right. So the directive he gave me is to rebrand Las Vegas to be the wedding and anniversary capital of the world, which is great because this is all about recurring tourism. People, when they come get married here, it's, wonderful. But now we'll, do something to get them to come back to celebrate the anniversaries, right?
Yeah.
And to that end, he gave me this idea, Vegas Vows Forever. And it's a rewards program.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So, you opt in, obviously, but by being married in Las Vegas, you're eligible to join. Okay. So you don't have to.
Does that create money? Does that
So
bring in
what
money
this
for the
does,
city?
It can, yes, because the whole idea of the rewards program is that every time you come back to Las Vegas to celebrate your anniversary, And, we'll know because if you opt into the program, we're going to basically see if you're actually in Las Vegas and if you and your spouse are there. And, we know the date of your marriage, obviously. We will offer a gift.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for instance, if you're here for your 5th anniversary, we'll give you, free tickets to the show
Mm-hmm.
or, free dinner or something like that. But here's the rub. The longer you stay married, the bigger the prizes get.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's supposed to be a public-private partnership. None of our tax money will actually go to the rewards. It'll be the casinos and the restaurants and the service providers that will offer these gifts.
And you just give them away, so they donate it. So.
Exactly. But for them, it's marketing. It's great PR, obviously, right?
Yeah.
And our whole thing is, it'll become a phone-based app, and we'll just be celebrating people's marriages. When they come to town, we'll interview them and say, so what's the secret to your longevity of marriage, and all that kind of stuff, because we're there to promote marriage and keep it holy.
How do you keep lines down? How do you keep people moving through there quicker? Things like that. How do you keep the wedding people licenses separate from other business that needs to be done? Because it seems like maybe they're waiting and clashing.
Yes,
because
that is completely right.
So how do you fix that?
So part of the issue is that right now there seems to only be one line. So if you're wanting a wedding permit, or if you're like a notary public that needs to just get a 5-minute transaction done, they all stand in the same line. Right now, the law is that if you want to get a marriage license, you have to appear before a clerk in person, right? So the line is filled with all these couples that want to get married. My idea is that technology has come so far nowadays. Like, for instance, I just got my passport renewed, and I didn't have to go to a passport office. All I had to do is, online.
You can do it online now.
Exactly. There's an app where you can literally just scan your face and everything like that, and they can validate that you are who you are. It's awesome stuff. So what I want to do is, first of all, change the law so that it's not mandatory that you have to appear in person, but that you do have to go through this app and everything like that, and we will validate who you are. And there was a concern.
Just a face recognition type software that you guys would have to be able to validate who they are. Is that what you're talking about?
Actually, I would like to actually see more of a video kind of validation, because what we're also looking for are people who are in distress. Because obviously with, unfortunately, Las Vegas being the number one trafficking city in the world, we have to stop that as well. So again, the idea is, your phone could still do the video and everything like that, but there is AI, and with the fidelity of the phones nowadays, you can actually pick up on things like these micro expressions. Have you guys ever heard of that? So apparently the CIA, they understand this completely. It's like if a person's lying, your face will give it a little tell, like in a microsecond. If you blink, you'll miss it. But because we have cameras on, they don't blink. And with the AI, we could actually say, this guy may not be telling the truth, right? So in that case, then what we'll do is we'll flag them and have them come into the office, right? But for 99% of the time, they're valid. So why not just give them virtual wedding licenses? And then the clerks that need to have things done, or the notary publics that need to get things done, they can just go straight.
What do they do? I was going to ask you about the notaries. What do they do down there?
It's a lot of just recording of things. It's separate from real estate, because that's a separate department. But it was explained to me that there are a lot of things that are notarized that need to be filed with the clerk, and those are the ones that they have to have that 5-minute transaction. So,
like wills, trusts, like things like that?
I have to get more research into specifically what they are.
Okay.
I just know that problem exists.
So they should have their own line, their own window, separate from any. And the legislature has a law that they can't have their own line?
No. I think it's just that's the way it's been done. So why don't we change that? So I'm open to changing that. Absolutely, because I want to make the whole place more efficient. It's just amazing how paper-based we are still. As a wedding officiant, I know that when we do wedding licenses now, it is a piece of paper.
Mhm.
And the way you actually file it is you have to literally either walk it in or you mail it in. It's like, come on, we live in 2026.
Everything is digital, and you can
Yes.
pull up anything, right? Isn't
Right.
that open to the public? Where
That
you
should
can pull,
be. Yes.
yeah, so you can pull things online.
Mhm.
If it's you, and that should be easy to do.
It should be. Exactly.
Is there lack of funding from the state or the county that precludes them from updating their software with things like what you're talking about?
I don't know, to be honest. The
Do you know the
I mean, in
budget of the
our-
clerk's office?
Well, I know that they've got 50 employees, so I'm sure it's like 2 or 3 million at least.
So that's a hefty.
Yeah, it's a hefty
So
thing.
you would have to go to Clark County,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And get funds approved in order to implement this new software change or
Yes.
AI and that stuff.
Yes.
Do you know how much that would cost, do you think, that kind of program?
We have to actually start really understanding exactly what we're doing first before we can really get a budget. And I can't really do that until I get in there and find out what it is that we're dealing with. But with that said, I mean, when I go and figure out rough estimates, what I've been getting back is that we could potentially save $1 million in terms of the overhead of the clerk's office. Some of it may be that we'll streamline the workforce. That may be part of it. But then at the same time, I think it'll just make things much smoother and faster. And I think it would be really good in the end to use AI in these things, because again, a lot of this, it's not rocket science. It's really just making sure we're getting our I's dotted and our T's crossed.
So
And
some people would lose their jobs,
potentially.
but in lieu of whatever their salary is, then you put that money towards this AI thing.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yes.
What makes you qualified?
As the clerk, well, I'm a problem solver. Again, my training is engineering, so we will attack the problem very logically. As a wedding officiant, I already have felt the pain of the systems, so I know kind of where we need to make things better. And I believe that with vision and with passion, we can get things done. So
besides God telling you to do this,
Mhm.
How do you stand out from the incumbent? What is the incumbent doing wrong that you feel that you need to go in there and fix?
Mhm.
And what are the 3 operational problems that is current in the Clark County office that you want to go and fix?
Okay, very
What's
good.
wrong with that office that you got to go fix it? And how do you stand out from the incumbent and what the incumbent is doing wrong?
Sure. At this point, again, I've got to commend her for what she has done, because it was a big deal to make Las Vegas the wedding capital of the world. However, I think that it's kind of stalled there. It hasn't gone to the next step. So this new vision of making Las Vegas wedding and anniversary capital will bring new life to things. I think in our interview, for instance, when she was talking about looking at that kind of thing, I think she had only mentioned like on Valentine's Day they would get together or something like that. Whereas this program, it's actually geared to be a little bit more inclusive of all people. And oh, by the way, if you're a local who hasn't been married here in Las Vegas, you can also be part of the program by just doing a renewal of vows. Mm-hmm. So we've got that figured out too. Yeah, and it would backdate to when you actually got married. Because in the program, it's not when you join the program; it's actually how long you've actually been married. So we'll get that done too. But with that said, again, I've heard complaints about waiting in line. And I think that is, again, this idea of streamlining, mm-hmm. Of changing the laws so that we can do virtual authentication. I think that will help a lot.
But you don't need to change a law in order to dedicate a window to the notary people.
That
is that
we can
correct?
do right away. That we can do right away.
All right.
Yes,
So they can have their own window,
They could have their own window, their own entrance, whatever we want to do. Yeah. But ideally, what we'll do is we will streamline the office to the point where, you could do most of what you need to get done, on your smart device. So that's the idea.
So you would obliterate pretty much all of those 55 jobs, or 50.
Well, potentially, either that or they would be doing other things that would help with moving things forward. So again, as I'm not quite in the office yet, I'm not sure what parts still need coverage, but that will free up our workforce to do the things that are necessary.
You'd probably need a whole IT department, because technology fails all the time,
Right.
to keep track of the AI and software and all that stuff to make
That's
sure
right.
it's actually working.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, absolutely. So some of those people could get retrained in doing that. So absolutely. Yeah. And, that is one of the differentiators, because from what I understand, the incumbent is a little bit more AI phobic. She just doesn't trust what AI can or can't do, whereas I'm very pro AI. I believe that is our future, and we have to sure, we're going to have our growing pains, because anytime we do something new, there's a learning curve. Yeah, you just don't know what you don't know until you get into it, right? So but I'm willing to do that, because I think that is our key to making the office modern and much more efficient, and cost less money.
So I've known her for 11 years now. What is she doing wrong? I haven't heard that yet.
So it's not so much what she's been doing wrong. I think it's more the fact that she's not willing to move forward as quickly as culture is moving forward. So, again, I think she's a very nice lady and everything. But I think as the clerk, you have to have that vision. You have to have that excitement to move forward.
She's not excited.
Well, she's certainly not excited about AI, for sure. Yeah. So.
You mentioned weddings a lot, but there's more to that department than just marriage.
Oh, of course, yeah, the fictitious name statements.
The fictitious name. How would you handle that department? And you also mentioned that she's the clerk for the county commission. What type of rapport do you have with those 7 county commissioners?
Well, at this point, I have not really come to know them, but I do see myself as a servant. So I'm there to do what they need me to do as the clerk, to keep track of the minutes.
So you haven't met with none of the county commissioners?
At this point, no.
But you think that might be
that's
downfall?
A great idea. Well, no, it's going to be what I'm going to be doing between now and November.
Do you go to the meetings to observe what Lynn does as a clerk during a meeting?
At this point, I haven't done that yet, no. But again, that is something I'm going to be doing. Because at this point, I didn't know if Lynn was going to be my competition, or not.
She is
so
the incumbent.
Well,
more than likely she would be.
She had somebody else there, doing competition as well. So, yeah.
So do you know exactly what she does sitting with the county commissioners?
My understanding is it's basically doing the minutes and keeping track of
You've done
everything.
Stuff like that before?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do that. Yes.
The fictitious firm name, how would you streamline that department? What would you do differently?
Well, again, that's where I think AI has a lot of opportunity, because, again, a lot of it is just making sure that your name does not conflict or is too close to somebody else's name. And that is easily done, through an AI engine. Right now, I'm not sure that that's how they do it. But again, I want to be able to create it such that the businessman can do it through the portal instead of actually having to come into the office. And then,
well, you can do it by mail. I mean, they send you. I have a DBA for my real estate company, and they every 5 years they send a form in the mail, and you fill it out, and you send in your $25 or whatever it is, a check. I don't even know if it could be done online, and it should be able to be, just like the state sends you for your corporate renewal and list of officers. You just click through there, and you pay online, and boop, you're done.
That's what I want to do.
The clerk, that DBA, especially something as simple as the DBA, That should be done. And then you have to put in a self-addressed stamped envelope, and then they mail it back to you and all this. And it's good for 5 years. I think that there could be, it could be 10 years. Why is it only 5 years? Or if you don't need it anymore, you turn it, resign the name or what. I don't know. It just seems like it could be online, quicker, easier.
Yes.
And I can't even imagine the clerk's office wasting money on envelopes, the notices, the forms, and everything, when you could just, push a button and send that to the people who have DBAs.
Absolutely. Yes. I completely agree with that. Now, obviously you never know until you get in there. There could be some kind of, again, a law or some kind of regulation that prevents them from doing that. But if that's the case, I would work to change that.
Research that and make sure that have you been to the clerk's office to talk to anybody there, or, see how it works, or observe? Or
I've certainly been there as an officiant, but I haven't been there to actually observe behind the scenes, because I don't think it's appropriate for me to do that at this point.
So you mentioned the wedding. Do you know that she puts on classes for officiants?
Yeah, I've gone through the classes. Yes.
You've been through the classes. Yes. Have you met with any of those wedding chapels that are here in town?
Well, that is my goal. It's to actually.
You haven't met with any of them yet?
Well, I know a few of the owners of some, and we have been chatting. Yes, already.
Okay.
Yes.
Have they endorsed your candidacy?
At this point, not yet, but we're moving down that path. So, yeah.
Do you know the budget of the county clerk?
Well,
I asked him that.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't get an answer.
Yeah.
I know, because he doesn't know for sure.
I don't know for sure.
So
my estimate was like $3 million. Yeah.
So you wouldn't know what the percentage is used for the clerk's personal costs?
Well, I know that the clerk's salary is like $130,000. Which honestly I think is a little high.
What are the perks? What extras does the clerk get?
To be honest, I'm not sure, because again, I'm not really running for the money. I'm doing it for the service. I really just want to present this biggest vows for everything, and
for the money.
Not really.
So you're going to donate your salary like President Trump did?
Well, potentially, yeah. Depending on what God does, yeah, absolutely.
So what is the difference between the county? Because in some counties, the clerk handled the voter registry.
Exactly right, yes.
So what is the difference between the county clerk and the register of voters?
The register of voters, I think, is actually a state thing through the Secretary of State. They do the registrations, whereas Clark County is more just the actual elections. Yeah.
What are the three most important statutory duties of the county clerk? Because it's more than just fame and game, marriage. It's way more than that.
Oh yeah. Well, again, from my understanding, is we are in charge of the wedding licenses. We are in charge of fictitious name statements, making sure that those are all copacetic, and then making sure that the minutes of the commission meetings are accurate and available. So, because we want transparent government, obviously.
Have you met with the county manager yet?
No, not yet.
What are you waiting for, Dr. Shaw?
I guess I'm waiting for a kick in the butt.
Yes, well, you just got one.
Yep.
If elected, what specific promises can voters hold you accountable for the next 4 years?
That I will handle my duties and responsibilities with the highest integrity. That I will search out God's will for all of these things, so that there is going to be an accounting, because I answer to a higher power, not just yes, amen.
We all do, no matter what we do. We all answer to the higher power.
Amen.
So what qualifies you than your opponent? Why are you more qualified? Why should I say, you know what, I've known the county clerk for 11 years, and now I want to switch my vote and go with Dr. Shaw. Mm-hmm. How could you convince me, after 11 years of knowing her, to go with you? What are you bringing to the table that's different from her?
I'm bringing new ideas, a new vision, and an excitement with the potential to actually not only help Las Vegas rejuvenate with return tourism, but this could potentially help marriages across the nation. So,
how much money does that generate? How much money do those marriage licenses generate for the county?
right. Well, from what I understand, it's like $1 billion industry here in Las Vegas.
Have you ever looked it up?
I'm trying to remember the quote that I saw, but it was because the whole thing about the weddings is to bring people into Las Vegas. So it's all about the tourism, if you will, and then all the secondary spending and everything. So it's not just the wedding and the ceremony. It's the hotel stays. It's the Uber rides. It's the eating at restaurants, everything like that. So from what I understand, it's about $1 billion a year.
Could there be remote, like there's little kiosks in remote locations for the recorder's office? You can go to Henderson City Hall. You can go to the one up there off of Cheyenne to record documents instead of going downtown. Can the clerk have remote little locations, like maybe down on the strip in the hotels, in order to facilitate this stuff rather than having to come to one office? Is there a law about that?
No, I think that, and they did actually try that, I think in Temecula or something. Not Temecula, what am I saying? Tonopah. And apparently they opened up the office to great fanfare, but it just wasn't utilized, which is part of the problem. Yeah.
Well, in Tonopah,
right?
I would imagine it wouldn't be utilized.
Yeah.
But here in the casinos, maybe a remote.
Well, as it were, I do think that, like for instance, for the wedding permits, I wanted to see little kiosks in each of the casinos. So instead of going all the way, to the clerk's office, they could just go down to the concierge area, and there's a specific, kiosk set up with the cameras and everything like that, and they could literally do the authentication right there, and they could have their permit within 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on how the things go. So yeah, because I think they were trying to do that maybe like 5-8 years ago, but the technology just wasn't there yet. I think we're at the point though where it's mature enough and foolproof enough where we could actually start relying on that. So yeah.
Well, I would say that you have to research the cost of what you're trying to implement and your ideas, even before you don't have to be in office in order to do that. Review what their budget is and what the cost of these changes would be, because you're going to have to present that. And so you might as well do your research and know what that is now to see if that is even feasible.
Yes.
Do you know the current cost for a marriage license?
I want to say, I can't remember, because it's been like a couple of years where I've actually done a wedding. Yeah.
You're running this year.
Yeah, I know. So I need to go find out.
$102.
102. Thank you.
Do you know how many marriage licenses were issued last year?
I believe the number is like 50, 60,000, something.
75,000.
Okay, all right.
Do you know what the dollar amount is?
Well, given $102 per license, I would say 750,000.
7.6 million per year.
Okay.
There was another one. Have you ever been sued, sanctioned, or investigated or disciplined in a professional capacity?
Nope, I have not.
How old are you, Dr. Shaw?
I'm 65.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is
just turned?
What is the biggest mistake you've made in leadership role, and what have you learned from it?
The biggest mistake I've made was to not fire someone when I should have fired them right away.
Because you're a nice guy.
It's because I always like giving second chances to people, and I've learned sometimes you just got to cut it when the cutting is good, because it ended up costing way more and causing much more harm than if I had just done it right away. So that was a big lesson that I learned.
How would you ensure customer service remains a priority in one of the busiest marriage license offices in the nation?
Well, it's all about customer feedback. You know, and in terms of marketing, we are a service industry. You know, we're here to serve our clients. So I definitely want to make this experience as easy and almost, well, certainly as painless as possible, but even fun. You know, if we can make it fun somehow, that'd be great. And the way we would judge that is that we'd have to get feedback from the people who have gone through with, well, you know, surveys, questions, questionnaires, that sort of thing. So we can get that data and figure out where we're falling short and where we're doing well. So,
do you know the average wait time for a marriage license, and how would you improve it?
well, let's see. I guess the average wait time, I've heard it's between 15 to 20 minutes. Is that right? Yeah.
Would you be willing to set up some type of experimental with the family court? Because for people that are getting divorced, come on, step in there and try to keep families together, or try to keep the marriage together, since you already passed there.
Right.
Probably, you know, your what they call that, wheel well, if you'll be willing to do something like that.
It's in my,
Wheelhouse.
Yeah, my wheelhouse.
Your wheelhouse.
Exactly. Yes, I think that would be excellent. And as a matter of fact, just to let you guys in on a little secret, that app, the Vegas Vows Forever, you know, obviously it's great for keeping track of rewards, and, you know, we'll be publishing testimonials of how, you know, these people have been able to stay married for 50 years. But on the very bottom, there is a button that says, I need help. So when you click on that button, that brings you to a whole new part of the portal that will, you know, present you with different articles on, you know, the importance of marriage, and some, you know, ideas of like love languages. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that. And just helping people to understand their marriage better. And then if they want to take the next step, we will actually help them by connecting them with marriage counselors in their area. Because that's the thing, you know, we would like to start reaching out to the different parts of the country to see, you know, who we could actually recommend as good counselors. So that is the way I believe that we're going to affect marriage across the nation and possibly the world.
You know, you're going to have those detractors that tell you, you are the clerk, you are in a government position, you have nothing to do with helping, you know, marriages in either a pastoral role or anything what you're talking about. I could hear it now, you know, that you're stepping outside the bounds of, you know, what you're doing. But your heart's in the right place to help people. And yeah, marriage, that's right. The statistics are terrible.
Well, yeah, and you know, if you think about it, one of the biggest problems we have are like fatherless families, right? And that's because, well, number one, they were never married in the first place, or because they've, you know, gone through divorce. If we could just make a 10% dent in that, we'd just be so much better off. And the way I would answer those detractors is I would basically say, look, it's an opt-in program. Nobody's forcing you to do this. So there it is.
Do you know where you would cut waste?
Well, I'm assuming that there's just a lot of, again, paper shuffling right now. So by digitizing, hopefully that whole thing becomes much more streamlined. So that'd be part of it. And
there could be a lot of money saved with the DBAs.
Yes.
And all those forms and everything
all those
that they
forms,
send out.
all that paper.
I don't know how many thousands that they send out, but that could all go away. Plus,
Indeed.
if you implement any kind of AI stuff, you're taking away jobs.
Yes.
You know, there's going to be less workforce there.
Yes, but it's just one of those things that just has to happen. You know, when the automobile came along, a lot of buggy whip manufacturers lost their jobs. Well, what are we going to do? Try and keep the buggies so that we can keep those jobs, and instead of going with cars?
They're like cashiers, right?
Cashiers?
Yeah, we hardly see cashiers in the store.
Oh, that's right. That's right. You're exactly right.
Self-serve.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
help
indeed.
yourself and scan your item.
Exactly. So, you know, like I said, I would want to train the workforce in how to, you know, work with the AI, because that's a very important skill in and of itself. You know, so I don't necessarily want to let them go, but I do want them to be efficient and doing a job that really needs to be done, rather than just sitting there and kind of doing paperwork.
So if I was going to put you and your opponent on a billboard, and I was going to check off boxes for you and not check off boxes for her, what boxes would I check off for you?
Let's see. It would be forward thinking, efficiency. Let me see. Visionary and fun.
Fun?
Fun.
You got to make the office fun.
I want to make the office fun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know the satellite offices that are located across Clark County?
Again, I think those are the ones that they tried, but again, they didn't get enough traction, so they ended up just closing them down. So, yeah.
So you're saying there's only one place to get a marriage license? That'll be downtown?
At this point, yes. From what I understand,
and where will we get a fictitious firm name?
They're downtown, yeah.
At the
that's
county,
right.
county building,
At
right?
the county building, yeah.
That's the
right.
only place?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
So that's why I want to bring everything online. Then you could be anywhere.
And how could anybody renew or get their official marriage to officiate marriages? Where would that be?
They're at the county office.
And that's the only place?
From what I understand, yes. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Phillips, do you have anything else for Dr. Shaw?
I think we grilled him enough.
I love this, though, you guys, because it's showing me my weaknesses and the stuff that I have to get ready. So I appreciate so much that you guys are
meeting with all 7 county commissioners.
I will do
a long
that.
time ago.
I will do that. Yeah.
And go to their meetings, just sitting there watching and
Yep.
observing what happens and all that. That's
Very good.
interesting.
And if I was you, I'll introduce myself to them by going up to the podium in general public speaking and introduce yourself to them and let them know who you are. They probably don't even know who the hell you are.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Lynn will know who you are, though.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
She's met me already, yeah.
Dr. Shaw, Mark is going to zoom in on you.
All right.
And you can say whatever you want if you have any event coming up or anything like that, or if you want to direct people to your website.
Okay.
Or contact information.
Absolutely. All right. So again, thank you for this opportunity to, be grilled, and because I know iron sharpens iron, and that's what I see this as. For those of you that are interested in supporting my candidacy, you could visit my website, and it's simply howellshaw.com, and that's spelled HOWELLSHAW.com. And again, thank you for your kind attention for today. And I'm always looking for suggestions as well, because you just don't know what you don't know. So please come forward if you have any suggestions for the clerk's office, and I'd be happy to see if that fits in and we can implement. So thank you. I'm here to serve.
Thank you, Dr. Shaw. Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Folks, that's Dr. Howell Shaw, candidate for Clark County Clerk. And he has been endorsed by both Veterans in Politics International and the Nevada Veterans Association. We encourage folks to put Dr. Shaw in office. He's going to be our new visionary. So let's see what he does. This is Steve Sanson, Stephanie Phillips with Veterans in Politics. Until next time.
Join us every Wednesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific Time, live stream on Facebook.